Yes, sir.
Keep it coming. Guys who draw overtime love it.
There we go.
People coming in today. It is so.
Forward to warming up just enough to come up with a full load on my Ford and not just a partial load, because the change of not taking the. We should come up with it. So I had a stack of logs down on Shannon Brook, and I live on Thompson Hill. And all 12 girls working out. I can drive up there, full load. Right now, the road is closed.
Well, that's true. You never know.
No, he said, I know where you're going, some of it is, our salt, which is beautiful. Spend a week. This time I bought clothes from a guy who's a contract to help get me. His name was, but I was with all the, I didn't have time to go into business. Because I was,
Turn it off? Sure.
Whatever you say.
You and I can look at this, and this is how we'll do it. If anybody does not use message in the chat, but you can't see, I don't know about you, but I can't see. I think it hit without any.
I can't, well, the chat's usually only they fit.
Right, but now we'll be able to see what the chat is. We'll be able to see who's in the race. Blah, blah, blah. It's always cold. It's just you just in the back.
Oh.
Once we're short.
When I went running today.
There are no shades and. I just made me go to the no, it's me. Well, okay. What was it? So I don't answer.
You know the answer.
So. To the extent of me, last year. It's provided. I can't imagine what you have to go out to bid. It's 18,000.
Three-part beat.
Budget. And the thing is, it's LED. Replace that in.
One of my friends now
And just get it replaced, right?
plays
Why do we? Just who wants to work in the snow? Evil man. Because the price goes up. It's in the snow. I don't know, whenever you get,
whether or not I don't know whether that
I think the lights themselves. The small light is. I think Kevin also needs.
But it's just for your parade, so we have a parade. I will, otherwise I would have made a lantern and.
Yeah.
So you choose the big night.
Dave mentioned that he's still today. Wanting to have.
So cheerful.
Street.
I don't know if they're true. I've actually had. the second graders.
You don't
Get it done.
Good. Just hit it down the path.
Everything.
Direction was changed. But we're still gonna get to the end.
Yeah, I don't know. What is it, it's been there for 4 years. We wasted our regular light
So if you want,
20 years out.
Maybe. We used to drink.
when you put stuff on online, and it goes down, stuff comes up. All right, I gotta get the right one.
Just see where the child.
And there's already one.
It's not a real one.
No.
They do, but then if you look at
Good point.
I love to see a full house.
Capacity of mine.
That's right. But he's not coming, he's
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, being 7 o'clock or 1900, if you're on the 24-hour clock, I'll call the February 10th regular select board meeting to order. Roll call. Everybody's here except for Dave. He is under the weather. We're going to set and adjust the agenda. We've got a authorization to reimburse Mark for water line repair. I'll discuss that when we adjust the agenda. That'll be right before we approve the bills. We have to approve this request before we pay the bills. So, other than that, is there any reason to adjust the agenda, sir? Very good.
We discussed a potential thing we need to adjust because we have not formally approved the draft. Can you make sure you're muted on? The draft for the town manager search advisory committee,
Right.
we needed to finalize
And
that.
we'll put that in under select board?
Yep.
Right, thank you for that. And we have an addition to adjust the agenda, which is to approve the, say it again, the
It's,
advertisement for
we
the,
need to finalize the advertisement for the Northfield Town Manager Search Advisory Committee.
right,
We just need to add a couple of details to the draft.
right. So we'll be talking about that under select board items. Hearing that, first thing is public participation. Mike Tomzek. How are you, sir?
Very good, how are you?
I'm better than I deserve.
Very good.
Why don't you get up here? I just introduced you. Nice to meet you. We've talked a few times.
Hello, everyone, Mike Tomczyk.
Great. You've got the floor, sir.
Okay, so I just wanted to address some concerns back in August, around August 12th. I noticed, I live on 312 Route 12 next to the Falls trailer park. They bought my property. And I was in my yard, I noticed they had put up a bunch of stakes to put in two new homes. And so I called the town, or the zoning administrator, and I asked him if he could go check it out and see if they're doing everything by the rules or whatever. And Mitch told me that he would go check it out, which I think he did. And his reply to me was, if there's any existing slabs, that there shouldn't be an issue, but there wasn't any existing slabs, it was all grass. And anyway, so I went ahead and I said, well, if everything's okay for them to put their new units in, can I put up a fence? And he said, you certainly can. You have to apply for a permit, not a permit, but just register it with the town, which I did, and I started put up a fence. And then a couple months later, they started putting in new slabs, and they put in a septic tank. And what I'm not sure, but I think they might have put in a leach field. They brought several truckloads of gravel and stuff, and I wasn't there to see every day what they did, but I noticed there's now a septic tank cover in between the one slab is there, the other one is not in yet. And I then, like right in beginning of January, I saw workers there and they started putting up a power board to hook up their power. And so I asked the guys, I was like, so this is happening right away? And they're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be in on Wednesday. So I called Mitch back and I was like, Mitch, what's going on here? Anyway, I then called Randy, who owns the property, and I was like, Randy, I had at that time checked the property. My property markers are new since I bought my property in December 14th of 22. So I have new markers. And to put up the fence, I made sure my fence was 3 feet from the line so I could work on my fence and take care of it. And I measured to the slab, and the slab was 8 feet from my property. And I'm pretty sure, I looked into it, that it's supposed to be 10 feet. So I called up Randy Roulet, who owns the property, and I asked him, I said, Randy, your slab is too close to my property. You didn't get a permit. And he said, I don't get permits. And I was like, well, and he's like, is that a problem? And I was like, well, yeah, I think it's kind of a problem. This is the first property I've ever owned in my life. And I'm worried in resale or at some time that your buildings are gonna be too close to my property. And he said, well, the manufactured home is getting delivered tomorrow, and if you have anything else you wanna talk to me about, you can call me. And I was like, that's it? That's all you're gonna say? And he's like, that's it. And he hung up on me. I called the town again and told them what happened, and Mitch had told me that, well, we're gonna start fining him. And I slept on it and I was really upset. I was like, so now we're gonna be fining this guy, but what does that do for me? He's gonna get fined, and there's a slab next to my house, and now there's a house right on my property, which I think is too close. I don't know what that means, but I just know that, you know, I don't feel like I was heard. And yeah, that's where I'm at. And I've had a few people tell me that don't mess with Randy, but you know, so now that makes me think of, like, now I made enemies. So Randy's getting fined apparently, and I'm sitting there with the manufactured home closer to my property than I think is legal. So that's basically where I'm at.
Lydia, have any questions?
At this time, it sounds like a difficult situation.
Yeah. And, you know, I hate butting heads, and I talk to people. I was just gonna let it go, but I sit up at night thinking, like, you shouldn't let it go. This is your first property you've ever owned in your life, and I really love my property. I just want, I don't know, I just wanted to be heard and had things done right, you know, and I have to get permits for when I do stuff. And when Randy tells me I don't get permits, and now there's a possible leach field, definitely a new septic tank, and 2 new houses getting put right next to my property, I'm like, so what does this do for me?
John, do you have any questions?
How far is a fence supposed to be from a property line? Mitch?
And for me,
Yes,
typically, we do not require a specified setback for a fence. The only condition is that the fence should be set back from your property line far enough that you can do any repairs or maintenance of your fence without trespassing on your neighbor's property. I often advise people to set it back 2 or 3 feet, so you can get a lawnmower in there or paint it or fix it if you need to, but
Mine is 3 feet from my property line. I put it 3 feet back, so I can keep it clean. And we milled the wood actually just across the street at my brother's house up on Slaughterhouse Road. I milled all the wood, and it's a pretty fence. It's not 100% done, but snow came, and I plan on it. But yeah, I put it 3 feet from my property line. And I don't think Randy ever checked his property lines. Again, there was nothing but lawn there when this all started on August 12th. And now there's a slab and a septic tank and another slab. The slab isn't there yet, but the ground is prepared for a slab.
That's all I had. Mary?
Yeah, so I think I understand. The slab that's already there is not 10 feet from your
It's
property.
8 feet,
8 feet.
yeah, and there's a power. It's a structure they make to put their.
Yeah, I know what
power
that
thing,
looks
and
like.
that's maybe a foot from my property, maybe 2 feet.
Oh my goodness, but that's a temporary thing.
Well, I don't know. They put it in the ground, there's 2 posts and
Yeah.
it's pretty and, but it is super close to my property.
Okay, so I don't know what the rules are for those kinds of structures. Do you know the rules for those kinds of structures?
Typically, towns do not regulate things like septic systems or wastewater systems. That is under the jurisdiction of the DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation.
Yeah.
They may have rules about how far from a property line a wastewater system is supposed to be. I do not know that off the top of my head. I'd be happy to look into it, and I may look into it just out of my own curiosity, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Well, you may have a state issue as well.
I'm really concerned too about, I know they put a septic tank in, it's got the green cover. There was nothing there before, and if they put a leach field in next to my property and that wasn't ever, planned, I know it costs a lot of money to get a septic design, because if mine ever fails, I was told it's gonna be $100,000 possibly to put one in. I'm gonna have to pump it all the way to the back of my yard. Pretty much right up the hill is where they put theirs, which is very close to my property. And it's a little concerning. Again, Randy told me I don't get permits. That was his
Yeah, I
reply
mean,
to me.
Yeah, he's not here to talk
No,
about
I
it.
know, but I just,
Your name was on there on the public notice, so he knows you're not here to talk about the weather.
yeah. I'm new at this too. I've never had to
Well,
complain
no,
about,
none of us,
so,
yeah, you do it the first time
yeah,
and the only time,
hopefully.
hopefully.
So, are you done?
Yeah,
So in August, you brought to the town's attention
Yes,
that
I have
there,
phone records.
right, that there was an encroachment on the property line by, a new development in the trailer park.
They put out a bunch of stakes and flags and started doing some work, and that's when I brought it to the town's attention, and I asked them to check it out, and the reply was, I'm gonna go up there and look at it, and I'll get back to you. I called Mitch back the next day, and I don't remember verbatim what we said, but they're putting it in. And that's when I said, well, can I put up a fence then? Because I thought, well, they're putting this in, there's nothing I can do about it. I guess it's legal, so maybe I can put up a fence. These homes are right above my backyard overlooking it, which was nothing but sky, whatever. Now it's one mobile home, and then there's gonna be another manufactured home. So I put up a fence. And then I'm like, all right, well, let me just check. After they put the slab in, I measured it to my property line, and it's 8 feet on the nose.
Okay, so back in August, you brought this to the attention of the town.
Yep.
Mitch has been made aware of this more than once, and, he now has responded. The first letter was January the 16th. The second letter was January the 30th, and then he's got a third letter on February 6th. So, some of them are after this occurred. Essentially, you've got, let's see, August, September, October, November, December. That's 5 months, am I right? Plus January is 6 months. And, it wasn't until, the 6th month before you heard from the town. And did you get a copy of these letters?
No,
Well, I'll give you mine.
I have this now.
Right, no, I'll give you this. This is the documentation that's been sent
Okay.
to Mr. Rouleau. And, that starts the process, albeit, 5 months, a little excessive.
Mhm.
We'll probably be having that discussion later on tonight.
Okay.
You won't be privy to that discussion,
That's fine.
but we'll try and come up with a understanding of, why it took so long to react to a citizen's concern about what's happening through the zoning requirements.
Okay. Thank you guys for hearing from
You're
me.
certainly welcome.
Appreciate it.
You wrote a good letter and we will take a look at it.
Took me a lot of time to think about it and,
Coming in front of a murder board is never easy, let me tell you, you're on TV, you've got an
Yeah.
audience. It's not an easy thing to do, but I commend you for coming.
I feel better now that I'm here
Good,
and I had hesitations of it, but I'm glad I'm here.
I'm
good.
glad you're here too.
And I was heard.
Well, we welcome any citizens to address concerns about the functionality of the municipality. And this is, hopefully will be the last place that someone has to come to, because ideally you would go through the manager. The manager takes the bull by the horn and then comes up and reports to us, or invites the aggrieved to come in front of us so we can make sure we put it on our calendar and we can follow up on it, and we will.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you
thank
guys.
you. Any questions from the audience? Any questions from online? Hearing none. Next item on the public participation is David Mears, Northfield Conservation Commission, Cheney Field, accessibility. Hey, David.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Thanks all of you. David Mears, I'm the chair of the Conservation Commission. And with me is Bill Delasola, who's a member of the Town Forest Stewardship Committee. But relevant to tonight is also volunteered to chair a work group that spent some time on this issue that you may recall came up over the summer, which is a really good question about whether or not, given some of the work that has been done by the contractor for the water tank to create a staging area for their vehicles, whether there was a cheap and easy way to kind of turn that into permanent parking and make the whole Cheney Field more accessible. So you asked the Conservation Commission for our thoughts on that. We weighed in the first time and said, we didn't think it was such a great idea. We were at that point kind of concerned. There had already been a road cut through the Cheney Field that we were frustrated about. We were worried about kind of the aesthetics of it and the kind of environmental effects. And there were some public members who spoke to us who were very concerned about the narrowness of the road up to that particular parking area, and whether that was going to be a safe and appropriate way to increase traffic. So we initially said we didn't think it was such a great idea, and then we were asked again. Turned out there was a little more time to engage, and so we had some more discussions. And in the course of that, we met with some members of the accessibility walkability group, some of whom are here today. And participated and made a compelling case that we really should think seriously about ways to increase accessibility and walkability of the town forest, which is a value that the Conservation Commission shares and agrees with. But given that we were at somewhat of a loggerheads, we formed a committee. And Bill volunteered to chair it. And so I asked him if he'd be willing to kind of describe to you the work of the group and the recommendations that they brought forward. And at the end, after he presents, I'll kind of close with a couple of questions that we're hoping you might be able to help us answer.
Great, and your name again is?
Bill Delasola.
Bill what?
Delasola.
Del Isola.
Apostrophe in there, between Del and Isola.
Oh, there we are. All right, good, thank you.
Well, thank you, David, and thank you to the select board for hearing us today. And thanks to the working group, many of whom are with us right now. And so this work really wanted to address some key questions around access and accessibility to the town forest, and taking into account the social, environmental, and practical factors that shape access and accessibility decisions. And just want to remark ahead of time that while this is pretty lengthy recommendations, want to be as brief but to the point as possible. And through this process, we heard notes, got comments from the community, and also looked at the town forest feasibility study that was done a few years ago, and really recognized that it's important for us to improve accessibility to the town forest, and recognizing the importance of equitable access to town-owned land. And ultimately, the working group sees Cheney Field as an opportunity for thoughtfully expanded and inclusive access grounded in stewardship and community goals. So one piece of clarification is our working group was mainly aimed at looking at access and accessibility improvements, not rehabilitation features or facets of the field post-construction. And these recommendations largely will need collaboration through town officials, volunteers, other committees, and Norwich University as well. So the main focus of our conversation and recommendations is the lower Cheney Field access. And here we really focused on, really landed on that Cheney Field is a treasured community asset that should be broadly shared. At the same time, it's important for it to maintain wildlife habitat and emphasize the importance of maintaining this peace and seclusion that's so unique to the town. So to achieve these goals, we tried to pool all of those concerns and goals that we're looking for. So cutting to the chase, our concept for Lower Cheney Field basically results in the concept for a pilot program around regulated vehicular access that would be conditional rather than open and unrestricted. And we think that's important to address the security and other concerns we had or heard. And that around Cheney Farm Road, we feel that Cheney Farm Road, it's our assumption that it will exist as an improved hard packed and widened condition, similar as it is right now. And that we do not recommend the construction of a formal parking lot and feel like vehicular access for accessibility can be facilitated through the traffic patterns that the municipal water department will be using for the maintenance of the water tanks. We also feel like it's very important to consider what improvements might be important to have, like benches or other pieces to facilitate a inclusive experience for folks with accessibility needs on those pilot days for accessible access. So we see this pilot program functioning or could function on days where the town has existing public events. And that this is really like would be functioning on what we see as like a low risk experimental basis with clear conditions and limits, and that this phased pilot is a practical way to assess how this could work and to provide really meaningful accessible access at a small scale, and ultimately perhaps building that to a larger scale. And that generally on days when the pilot is active, vehicular access and parking at Cheney Field would be restricted to handicap license holders only, and that there would mainly be parallel parking along Cheney Farm Road. So there is a relatively long recommendation just for this focus area, largely focuses on what I mentioned around having a pilot program where we can assess and monitor how vehicular access could be maintained in a way that balances all of the values and concerns that we've heard from the community. One piece of this that's important to note, and there is a little arrow pointing to a map in the page I sent you. One recommendation here is improving the turn at the intersection from Byam Hill Road to Cheney Farm Road. That is pretty tight, and feeling like one thing that could be improved with help from the contractor is improving that turn. And that is nested, that recommendation is nested in that focus area one piece. So focus area 2, the Byam Road corridor, these will all go a little bit faster. So this recommendation is right now, Byam Hill Road, on the downside hill side of Byam Hill Road, not quite at the gate, but basically in between Hill Street and Byam Hill Road, there's an area that has been widened and feeling like there could be parallel parking for 2 to 3 spaces there. And if more work could be done with the contractor, I think we could increase more spaces to nose-in parking spaces there. So potentially up to 6 spaces on Byam Hill Road. We see this as an important improvement to accessibility because it will knock off at least a quarter of a mile of a walk from downtown or the Shaw Center, and at least 100 feet of elevation gain from the Shaw Center and 200 feet of elevation difference from downtown if you're accessing the town forest that way. Each of these recommendations do have concerns and other things that we're thinking about where, whether we need to be careful attention to winter parking here. And obviously we would need to work with abutting landowners and assess stormwater drainage and other pieces here. Again, another more thorough recommendation in the packets there online as well. And then the other focus area, this is the last main focus area that we feel like has really significant improvements for accessibility. And right now, this is at the end of Slate Avenue where you meet the Library Trail. And it's a little tough, there's a gate there, but that is relatively flat. And we have a sense that if there's a way that we could work with Norwich and the town, since that land ownership in that corner is very close and tight knit, there could be spaces for like 2 handicap parking spaces, and that trail is relatively level. And since that would be like a really nice pocket park, it's incredibly scenic just in that little corner, and it would be really meaningful to get folks with accessibility challenges to enjoy nature in our town forest that way as well. And that could also align with other improvements that need to happen to that trail based on the damage that's happened. And then focus area 3 is focused on multiple sites that improve access, so not exactly supporting folks with mobility challenges, but generally improving access to the town forest. And this includes Kingston Road, if folks recall, off of Barrows Road on 64. It goes, extends, and then there's a parking area at the end of Kingston Road. That road can be graded and parking could be improved at the terminus there. Some recommendations for the bottom of Turkey Hill Road, that is not currently an access point, but in the future could facilitate, with an agreement with Norwich, a level access to the town forest there. And then I think these next 3 recommendations, the intersection of Turkey Hill Road and the Forest Road, downtown Northfield Common Area, and then Slate Avenue, Highland Avenue, Elm Street, and Prospect Street, generally going to summarize these recommendations as better signage and better optics will help people know where to park and how they can park. And just in downtown, I think some interpretive signage would really help people to find their way to the town forest. And lastly, around the Shaw Outdoor Center, we see working with or collaborating with Norwich is essential here to explore grant opportunities for accessibility equipment that could be administered in conjunction with Norwich and the Conservation Commission, and improving signage and information at parking spaces located at the Green Mountain Facility Practice or Family Practice would be helpful, since sometimes there's a little ambiguity about how to access the forest there, especially when it's snowing. And so just a couple other pieces of future considerations and framework that we feel are ongoing is we want to continue to research the best practices for accessibility improvements for outdoor recreation, drawing from examples from other towns and comparable sites. And one other big piece is exploring collaboration with organizations like Vermont Adaptive and Vermont Trails and Greenways Council to learn from existing models, design approaches, grant opportunities to have accessibility equipment lent out or owned by the town or in conjunction with Norwich. And also just continue to look at ways to facilitate access while minimizing sensitive impacts to sensitive ecological resources. Also looking at ways for easy up trails and other grant opportunities. So generally pretty extensive recommendations, but we had a really great time. It was really lovely to interact and meet interested folks in the community. And we had about 10 meetings and 1 field trip to Cheney Field. And I feel like we had some pretty productive conversations. So thank you.
Well done.
Yeah, so
Any questions from Bill, Lydia?
David, did you have something else?
No, please go ahead. What question?
Oh, well, I just want to start with a thank you to you all and to others who've been involved in this conversation. This has been a multi-year discussion in our community that has at times been challenging to have, and it's really good to keep looking for. We may not find, like I think David said, perfect consensus around this, but trying to find a balance between the different concerns and needs of our community. So I really appreciate the work you've done on this. And I think it moves forward some of what was in the town access feasibility study and continues some of what was in there and then adds some ideas to it. I could get really in the weeds with all my thoughts and questions, so I won't do that to everybody now. I see that Andrew Padilla was involved in these conversations, so I think, does that mean there's already a little bit of Norwich has been included to a certain degree? Yes. And then I guess on our side, I'm thinking you know, one of the limitations from the feasibility study was that the proposed ideas, the idea on biome was like financially, in my opinion, it was never determined officially that it wasn't feasible, but in my opinion, was a pie in the sky idea. Enhancing parking at the Shaw Center was something we tried to do with the Board grant, but due to Stormwater Act 250 stuff, we weren't able to do it even when we had money. So that collaboration piece can sometimes, even when all parties are in agreement, be really challenging. So I'm definitely looking to the ideas in here that maybe are low cost and don't require 100% collaboration. I know on Slade Ave, people already park there, so I don't know with my, like, minor improvements, if that's a maintainable one. And I definitely think that we should talk to our staff,
Well,
highway and water department.
ironically, what a sheer coincidence, because I had scheduled a department head meeting down at the wastewater plant with Jim Russo this morning, and as we were going through a bunch of things, and he was orienting me to the tank project.
Yeah.
This came up, and so I have some rudimentary sense of his layout location here. And one of the things I was going to suggest is that, as being the newbie here, what I would suggest Bill and maybe David just facilitate a meeting with Jim, because Jim has some concerns, and I don't
Yeah.
know, I can't articulate them, but
Yeah.
but as I listen to Bill, it almost seems to me like some of the things that he was saying might actually alleviate those concerns. I think at least from a town staff perspective, meeting with Bill and Jim, just sit down and just have you explain to Jim what you were presenting here, and let Jim react to that and
Yeah.
say, yeah, okay, that's not as bad as I thought, and maybe I'm putting words in his mouth. Anyway, long
But
story short.
potentially Carl too, because like
Well,
Kingston
yeah,
Road,
yeah.
the Kingston Road thing, and
Yeah, and I'm
meeting
only
with Slade
speaking to
Ave,
the-
like, I'm assuming the town probably has the ability without Norwich to make changes to those roads, because they're town roads. But obviously we would want to do it if Norwich had, we'd want to work with them, but I don't think it's their land that we're talking about changing if we're making improvements to access. But yeah, so if that's something that seems like a good next step is
I can
to,
at least to begin, again, I have no sense of history or communications or whatever, but it never hurts to talk to each other. And I think that getting the direct communication between the committee and the town department heads that would be involved here would be a good starting point. As you're trying to move through on a phased approach and trying to make this come to fruition. So, I mean, I could set that up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you've been exactly anticipated what I was gonna ask for, which is frankly, just that we get a chance to sit down and chat, because this is, I think in some ways, a classic Vermont committee. It was not, these weren't expert consultants, they were very pragmatic in terms of identifying,
Grassroots.
things that could work. And Bill kind of, described this as a happy bunch, which I think they all formed some good friendships and relationships. But I also know they all went in with different perspectives into this conversation and did some real work. Everyone kind of gave and, listened. So it was an impressive effort in that way. And in that way, for the select board and for Steve, I commend it to you as something that's a real resource for us going forward. Some of these things can be, will be things that I think can be done this spring and summer, in this construction season. And some of them frankly will be longer term work that the Conservation Commission and Town Forest Stewardship Committee and the Walkability Accessibility Group will be working on over time to formulate them into more concrete recommendations and do work to raise funding to help the town implement them. But thank you very much for your time. Happy to answer more questions.
one little tidbit there is, hopefully if we get it straightened out, sorry, Mary. An order for more signage won't address everywhere you probably think we need wayfinding, but there was a second order place that we're still sorting through. That will hopefully, I know like the intention was there'd be something at Slade Ave and a couple other key locations that should help with people finding their way. Sorry, Mary.
I wanted to just commend you also for the way that you did. I attended a meeting or two, I think. And I was very impressed with the way that you pulled this together. This stuff happens and it seems almost by magic, but in fact, it takes masterful leadership, and you did that. I appreciate that. I also wish I had faith that this could happen, because some pretty smart people in this town. And so I was happy that that happened. Now, having given you all those compliments, I also want to say, would you stick around and provide leadership? Because somebody's going to have to provide leadership on these pilots. I mean, we could have pilots and then find out, oh boy, this isn't so good. But we gotta have them, and I don't see us doing it, so I guess that's gotta be you.
Wow.
Yeah, and as I look to the people on
Who
the,
else would do it?
I think that there's some steps in between saying we're ready for the pilot, and the town would obviously, I think, need to be involved in that.
Oh, the town has to be involved, absolutely. But I mean, we don't have subcommittees to do that. What subcommittee would do that?
Well, no, it should be, well, we need to start with talking with staff,
Right.
because there's some
Oh, yeah.
real
Oh, yeah.
big feasibility questions, even about a pilot, that corner, for instance, and exactly what the turning around, like, there's logistics that the town would.
And I know you had concerns about that.
What I wondered is, it says here, we'll have like 2 pilots in 2026. So you gotta pick 2 days. Well, who does that? Who picks those days? How does that happen? You gave some ideas, but you gotta pick those days. Okay, this day. Okay, we're gonna have a van. We'll have pickup places and haul people. Okay, so what day are we gonna do that? Somebody has to decide these nuts and bolts things. And, yeah.
but what I'm taking, the spirit of your comment is 100% where this committee is. When they reported to the Conservation Commission, we had similar questions, and they all agreed that they're invested in
Yeah,
the
okay.
success of this effort. We don't want to proceed, independent of the town, but I think in partnership, as the town needs help monitoring or kind of reporting back, or whatever role that this group can play. And it's a pretty sophisticated group, as Mary, as you suggested. This is a group
They're not
that,
stoop-nagels.
yeah. So anyway, so thank you very much for your support for this.
Stoop-nagels, it's a Yiddish word, it means a dunning.
So much better than what I'd say.
Well, I suppose you could say that too.
Where do you feel the collective group's efforts are now? So you prepared this report. Are you done with your work, or are you, it probably goes along with the question Mary is asking, what's your concept of how to move this forward? Does the group stay with it, or?
I believe so. I believe the goal was to sit down with the town staff and to formulate a plan and figure out who needs to do what. That's fair?
Well, I think,
Yeah.
so I gave you my card. If one of you would just send me an email, it's got both your addresses. I'll set up a meeting. It would probably be either late next week or the following week to sit down with Jim and Carl and just let you orient them to what your thinking is here, and they can react and say, not as bad as I thought, or we've got a problem, but I mean, better to get that conversation started sooner than later.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you.
John?
Did the feasibility study that Duport and King authored, has that gone up to the Cheney Field Farm Road? Or did that just stop at the gate?
That plan cites Cheney Field, it references access to Cheney Field and said it's not recommended at this point. Parking in Cheney Field, that is, due to town disagreement around parking in Cheney Field.
At that
At
time,
that time.
I was on the committee. It was such a,
Lightning rod?
Yeah, lightning rod topic that, that group at that time decided it was wise to pursue what other options there might be, which mostly came up with, not very feasible options other than like enhancing where there's already parking, like enhancing signage in the downtown, telling people they can park on Prospect Street, which they can already do if they want to, and Slate are not posted for no parking. And increasing the Shaw Center.
The DuBois kid map Cheney Farm Road.
No,
They stopped at the gate.
they didn't do mapping. They did, like they measured slopes. They looked at where utilities are.
Feasibility level type.
Yeah, it wasn't, like an engineering study.
That's all I got.
With all the talent that we have in Northfield, I'm convinced something is going to happen that's gonna make accessibility for everybody in Northfield available to the town forest. I can't imagine in 2026 that we could be so behind in making that happen, and I applaud everybody for getting together and having this discussion finally. Thank you for putting the effort in and getting this done. The end of the water project is coming in a couple of months. There's gonna be big, heavy equipment leaving there. If you come up with a plan that at least scratches the surface, doesn't have to develop a pilot, but just scratches the surface, so sometime down in the future, a pilot could be developed without having to have a $225 an hour excavator up there. That would be great if someone has the vision for that. I know I can build a path on my land simply because I've got the equipment and it doesn't take rocket science. However, this is municipal land. And with that comes bureaucracy. And the first step of that bureaucracy has been, we have taken that first step by you guys getting together. But the bottom line is, we have property in the municipality that's not accessible to people and that should be. So work on it. And if we can give you a hand, we've got a checkbook, but it ain't very big. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
I look forward to
Thank you
your-
very much.
Is there any other questions for these folks before they bail out from the audience or from the online streaming?
There is a hand raised by Laura Ewbank. And, so let's call on.
You
her.
can see that up there?
No, I'm using that.
Oh, yeah, I don't have that.
You
All
want
right,
if you want.
Laura,
You can have
please.
it if you want it. I got extras.
Can you hear me? Okay. I read the report and I'm really impressed and I think the group did a really, really wonderful job. So thank you for all that work. I'm just wanting to get a sense of, so the charge here, I think, was come up with some compromises that would get us more accessible, into Cheney and make it more accessible and more accessibility. And I think this is a big step forward for that. And I know that spring is coming, and that was when the restoration of Cheney was supposed to be taking place. So can I get a sense from the board as to whether this report and its recommendation meets your, I'll say, satisfaction, so we can get an idea of whether or not Cheney will be restored, except for what you will need for that, the road into Cheney for the water tanks. I think that's how it's put in the recommendations, that the road that's improved to the water tanks would stay. So I'm wondering if that means the rest of Cheney will be restored.
The contract states that the road came from nowhere without permission is going to be restored. And it is my hope that it's takes into consideration the natural contours that existed prior to that road going in. That is what has been stated clearly from members of this board. We've got new management. By the time spring comes around, we're gonna have more new management because Steve is going to be going away potentially. We're gonna try and talk him into it with over Valentine, cherries and chocolates, but, yes, the road should be, I don't know what the water department wants for going directly to the reservoir, but I do know that the road that branches off from that original road is going to be restored, and it's supposed to be restored with the contours seeded down and brought back to conditions that it was before it was put in.
Okay, so the rest of Cheney, there's big piles of dirt and flat areas along the side of the road. Do you get the feeling that that will be removed and restored?
That's part of what I'm not sure, exactly the mounds you're talking about. The last time I went up there, it was before snow flies, before the project closed for the winter. But they had mounds of dirt that are going to be used to restore the contours of the road that shouldn't be there.
Okay, that sounds good so far. Thank you.
Well, hopefully it is. We've got some solid leadership now in Northfield, and I think it will be. Are there any other questions? Hearing none. Thank you, folks, in your public participation. That was one of the better ones I've heard since I've been sitting up here over there. Liquor Control Commission, do I have a motion to renew the Champlain Farms liquor license?
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving liquor license renewal for Champlain Farms indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, that liquor license for Champlain Farms has been approved. Outside consumption permit for Felina Pizza. Do I have a motion to approve an outside consumption permit for Felina's Pizza, also known as Fate Hospitality LLC?
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the outside consumption permit for Felina's Pizza, also known as Fate Hospitality LLC, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any objections or abstentions? Hearing none. That outside consumption permit is approved. Approval of minutes, January 21st. Do I have a motion to approve the special meeting of 21 January?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the special meeting minutes for January 21, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any objections or abstentions? Hearing none. January 21 is approved. January 22nd, special meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of approving the 22nd January special?
I have discussion, just a minute, you're going so fast.
Keep up.
All right, on the last page 3, there is a little typo, that's all I wanted to do. And it should be set aside, not satisfied, and not satisfied either, but anyway.
Where is that?
Okay, so it's right smack dab in the middle of the page, on the far right. It's the fiscal, the level of future fiscal year set aside of amounts, not status. Yeah, see, the spell check won't pick up a word that is a word. So, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's set instead of set.
yeah, set instead of set, that's all.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes of January 22nd, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any objections or abstentions?
Abstain.
Hearing none.
I'm abstaining because I wasn't there.
All right, we have one abstention, so it's 3-0-1. With Lydia abstaining. January 27th, regular meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second. We have a first and second. Lydia, do you have any discussion? John? No. Mary?
No?
Mary?
No, I say no,
You have no discussion over a minute?
no, sir, no, sir. Everything was
All right.
perfection.
Hearing no further discussion, all in favor of approving the minutes of January 27th, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any objections or abstentions? None. Good. The minutes have been approved. All right, now this is where we skip down to author, select board under item 7, authorization to reimburse Mark Finch for the water line repair. Do I have a motion to approve that reimbursement for Mark Finch?
So moved.
Second. So everybody knows what this is, what this is.
Yes.
Said that the water user was, had a low water pressure to
Yes.
no water pressure in their house and spent, this is the third time he said plumbers come out to his house. On the third time, they said, the problem's not yours, the problem is the town. The town investigated, the town found out, in fact, they owned it. There was a $465 bill that he had incurred from the plumbers, and we're gonna pick up that tab through if we approve that water bill. Is there any further discussion?
I just want to say I read the minutes of the utility commission that was attached here, and it says there is precedent for us doing this.
That's correct.
This is how we handle these things.
This is settling the claim on town.
And this person, this is one of the bills.
That's
They
correct.
paid the other ones.
He's already paid the other two.
Just stating those for the record.
It's best to get it out there. Thank you, Lee. All in favor of approving the reimbursement for the water line bill repair for Mike Finch, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Now we'll go up to approval of warrant 15-26 and 15-26A. For a total of $739,494.17. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Thank you very much. Is there any discussion? By the way, 561,000 of that is out of the electric fund. Thank you very much. Not taxed off. No hearing, no discussion. All in favor of approving warrant 15.
Page 2,
Sorry, Don.
the deputy health officer. Has one been appointed?
Not yet.
Okay.
Because the deputy health officer is not. Ken is advertised for him.
That was the advertisement in the Times.
Right. I just wanted to know if anybody applied. That's all.
The appointment of the, reappointment of the health officer will be on the next agenda because the term expires at the end of this month.
All
We'll
right.
see if we get any applicants for deputy before then.
I apologize for going so fast, John. Are there any other, is there any other discussion regarding the warrant? Hearing none. All in favor of approving warrant 15-26, 15-26 A through C, for total $739,494.17, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Next item on the warrants, approval of bills is receipt of the bi-weekly payroll. Do I have a motion to approve receiving, a motion to receive the bi-weekly payroll for a total of $99,353.78.
So moved.
Second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of receiving the bi-weekly payroll through February 1st for the total of $99,353.78, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any objections or abstentions? Bi-weekly payroll of February 1st has been approved. All right, select board, Vermont, we have an addition to the item 7 of the select board, which is will be under E, which best is to approve, how did you see the word in that?
Finalize the advertisement for the town manager search advisory committee.
For town manager search.
Advisor.
Yeah, it's a citizen group to aid in the search.
Okay, Vermont Transportation Grant Reimbursement Request, Lover's Lane. Mr. Manager, you want to run with that?
Sure. This is a form needs to be signed by the select board. Essentially, certifying that the project has been done, and once they receive that certification, they'll reimburse the town $180,961.24.
Do I have a motion to approve the reimbursement request for Lover's Lane? So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Which things did this cover? Which project, parts of it?
Lover's Lane that goes from,
Yeah, but what did we do with the money?
we, in addition to, removing ledge, creating ditching, installing guardrails, grade, drainage.
Was that all
And
with
culvert.
this grant or was some of
There's
it?
a matching fund. Is there a matching fund on this?
Yeah.
I think there was a matching fund, but I think it was done in the form of, no, we contractors do that, but we didn't have it approved. I don't know if there's a matching done.
Well, it says municipality portion is $45,240.31, so.
Okay, good pickup.
Okay, thanks.
And the road is, if you travel Lover's Lane Road, it is remarkably improved. Do you agree, John?
Yes.
All right, is there any further discussion for the request for reimbursement? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the request for reimbursement for a total of $180,961.24, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any objections or abstentions? Hearing none. The motion is approved, and we have a signature page for that, right?
I assume you're holding it.
Oh, I'm sure there's one over here, let me see. Did you put one in here, in the folder?
Should be one.
All right, okay.
And it has,
It's under the warrants.
Under the warrants, I think I see it.
it's in that
It's in that
little,
brown folder. We'll sign that.
Yeah, okay. Oh, here it is.
Yeah. That's the
No,
warrant.
that's different, that's the one. Okay. Here you go.
All right, we got it. We'll sign it at the end.
I'm gonna.
All right, just leave it.
Okay.
We'll just, all right. Yep. One more piece of paper on this desk in my head.
Oh, I see that.
I'm sure you do. All right, authorization to request quotes to replace 2007 fire pumper truck. Why do we need authorization to request?
Well, this is, Pete, help me out here, but we're in the budget process. This is one of the pumpers that needs to be replaced, and there's a 3-year lead time. It's a big enough purchase that it certainly requires request for bids, and we just want the board authorization to, let's go ahead and we'll do it.
Do we have a motion to authorize to request those quotes to replace the 2007 fire pump?
So move.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of approving the request to replace the request quotes for the replace the 2007 fire pumper, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any objections or abstentions? Authorization is granted. Just so you know, we don't need to, the select board does not need to approve quotes. You can go out and get quotes on anything you want.
Okay, I just wanted to make
That's
sure
fair.
that you do that. It's a premise purchase and we're starting that process.
It's huge, and we appreciate it. We love being reminded that the cost of a pumper has gone from 400,000 to $1.2 million. It's
So-
just,
I think we're on the lines of that's gonna be an RFP. It will lock the pricing in for the purchase of that truck in 3 years.
okay. So that's still, I mean, it's great, if you guys want to come to the board, it's fine, it's not necessarily, the manager has the authority to do that through the purchasing policy. Lock those prices in, you don't need to delay your project because you want to approve, get in front of a board of 5. Just do it.
Good public transparency.
We love that. The budget shows the numbers it's gonna cost. We hate that.
You're free to go, Pete. Or stay if you want.
Thanks, Pete. Public hearing warrant town meeting articles Tuesday, February 24th. Do y'all know what that is?
yes.
So everybody knows, last year, everything is going to be, voted on by Australian ballot. The only way that you're gonna have a town meeting, again, in-person town meeting, is if there's a petition or the board asks for a special town meeting. So this is it. This is your opportunity next Tuesday, a week from, 2 weeks from today, to voice your concerns, arguments about the warning, which I understand, Ken, the town reports are back. Is it, or no, they're not back.
No, they're at the printer, but there's
They are-
an online version on our website. If you want to look.
There is an online version. I didn't know that didn't include the printed, and it's actually, it's a pretty good read. You'll love the cover. My wife took that picture, by the way. And there's some very good comments from department heads in there that are worth a read, as well as all the special articles requesting funding. So, do I have a motion to approve a public hearing for Tuesday?
So this was like information. It's already been in the.
You don't need a motion.
All
All right, it's not an action item. So Lydia, do you have anything more to say about the importance of this public hearing next Tuesday, the
Oh,
20.
I think you said the right things, Charlotte. Like, this is people's chance to come talk to us and each other about anything that's on the warrant.
And will we have copies of the town report by then?
Oh, sure.
All right,
It should be back around the 18th, which would be a week from.
and every one of our budget meetings was recorded, right? So if you want to, you're welcome to go through and review the videos. I can't imagine that you would want to give up jeopardy to watch that, but it's a worthy discussion, and I applaud the board for, first off, overcoming a budget that required an abbreviated budget period. And it was, and we had a lot of talent, a lot of interest. There's people that were here in the audience tonight that participated in most, all of them. Were you in all of them, Brian? Right, all of the budget hearings. So they have a sense of what we were challenged with and what we were doing. So please participate. Now, town manager's report.
Hold on, Charlie, the added item.
Oh, finalize, so yes, do we have a motion to finalize the advertisement for the town manager search committee?
So moved. Second.
Discussion.
All right, so the blanks we need to fill in, or the Northfield Select Board seeks blank individuals. So we needed to decide how many. My suggestion is 3 or 5, probably 5, but what do y'all think? How many?
For the,
So this committee will interview the 3 to 4 final candidates and offer their recommendation. That will be at the point where there will also be the staff interviews, the select board interview, and the citizen committee interview.
so is
So
there
it's how
anybody
many
on the
people?
select board that doesn't think that their sole direct report shouldn't have a full board participating in that process?
You lost me a little, but no, I think the answer is no.
Right, everybody feels, this is the only direct report we have. Well, the zoning administrator and the town manager, the zoning administrator is approved or is appointed by the select board, and the town manager is our only direct report.
Mhm.
I would think that 5 members of the board would be interested.
No,
in
no,
that.
not the board. This is of the public. How many citizens are we choosing? How many citizens can apply to be part of the citizen search committee?
I'm with Lydia. I'm sorry, I'm pulling a dumb spell right now.
Yeah,
So,
but I have a question about that.
yes.
Yeah. If they do the final 3 or 4, then what if they make a recommendation? What if we don't take it?
They're an advisory body. They do not, the select board has the hiring authority for the town manager position. So
Right.
this is an advisory committee. The staff will also be making their own recommendation, which will be a recommendation, not a decision. Now, Bill Fraser told us that most often, these various groups tend to agree with each other. So that may not happen, but it often happens that way. But the select board will be the entity hiring the next town manager.
They'll be the final say, and we wanna know how many people are gonna be on this committee.
How many citizens are we, yes, we need to fill in the blank, because we already agreed to the process and we
Okay.
agreed to, we just need to finalize the ad. So it's how many people do we want? It should be an odd number
It should be
usually,
an odd number.
so, and it can't be too
We
big.
got some input from out, but down the back of the room, right?
Just a question for Steve, how many are on the Perry City Advisory Committee? I don't know if you, I think you were part of it, when you first.
Well, I did a search for the current police chief, and I had actually 10 people on that committee.
Did that include, was that the whole hiring committee?
No.
Or that was
because
just the
as-
citizens
as-
portion?
As it turned out. This may sound facetious, I mean, I was a hiring committee, I made the final decision, but I
Yeah.
used that committee of 10.
Yeah.
Which, I tried to get as broad a representation, across the community, from business owners to, I actually reached out to a homeless person who was in the community and had him join the committee. Now, I think 10 is probably, in some respects, I think, the police chief's position is sometimes even more important than the managers, because it has more direct impact on the community. So that's why I had such a large committee.
Yeah, that makes sense. We had a large committee, or a larger committee for the police search too, I believe it was 7 or 9. But that committee included select board members as well as members of the public.
Yeah, I had, I think, at least one member of the city council.
Yeah, so this is a little different.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think
Because they
my
need to be,
recommendation would be 5, but
yeah, I think
10.
5, 7's the highest I could imagine, but 5 to me
Yeah, yeah.
seems, that's what I would suggest.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I wanted to know roughly how many town folks were on that committee versus the city council versus others that were on the committee.
When you go through this stuff, you think you're gonna remember it forever. Well, there was at least one counselor, might have been 2, but the rest of the committee was, business, residents, homeless.
Did you have any department heads on that?
Yeah, I had, certainly the police chief, the existing police chief. I had our personnel, we call them department head or HR person.
The reason why I ask is because these are the folks that are gonna work with these new folks that are coming in. I think it would be really prudent to add that to whatever the 5 that you choose. I think that would be very important.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the details, but if I understand what you're saying, there's also going to be department head.
Yes,
uh,
there's a whole,
collaboration.
so it's 3 groups interviewing the final 3. It's the citizen committee, the select board, and the staff.
Okay.
Yeah, we agree, it's really important.
You had a question?
No, it was answered, thank you.
Okay.
So-
Good. All right, so, what, just go over one more time, we've got, one of us will. We've got, so department head, staff of the municipality are gonna be involved in the process of interviewing the candidates for town manager.
The final
The
candidates.
final, thank you.
Yeah.
Candidates for town manager. Then there's gonna be a committee, and, is there gonna be a select board member on that committee?
No,
Right,
so,
so there's gonna be a group of citizens.
yeah,
And we're determining the number of citizens that's part of that, and then, the final decision is gonna be with the select board.
correct. And the process to get there, we're working with VLCT and Bill Fraser and the select board to go through the big bulk of applications and narrow them down to get to the point where we would probably be inviting those folks here and they would meet with those 3 groups, the citizens, the staff, and the select board. The staff and the citizens will submit their recommendation to the board and the board will make the final decision. That process, that's clear?
Yeah, I'm
Okay, so we are trying to decide how many citizens,
members of our,
members at large, yes. I think I'm hearing 5 maybe sounds okay to people. Is anybody not comfortable with 5?
Your number of 7 isn't bad either, but you're right, it's either one or the other.
Yes, we need, the time commitment is 1 to 1.5 hours on 3 to 4 different days. And also another time to discuss and approve a recommendation. So they need to be available on weekdays. We just don't wanna make it so cumbersome that it's difficult to get everybody together, but I'm fine, I'd be fine with 7 if everybody prefers 7.
So go for
Well,
5 with 2
People in
alternates.
the town are saying 5.
5?
Yeah.
5 it is. I have no objection.
You know, I'm just gonna throw it out there, have 2 citizens, 2 department heads, 1 select board. There you go.
No, the select board's gonna be making the final decision based on the recommendation.
Well, no, I understand that, but you're already gonna be making that decision with the select board. I mean, yeah, I guess in a sense, yes, you could.
There's, so we get 25 candidates, there's gonna be 6 that show up, then there's gonna be 3, and then the select board's gonna make a decision
Right.
based on
I get
those
that.
final 3. Roughly.
Right, and the citizen committee isn't going to be involved until the final 3 or 4-ish candidates.
Correct.
So, okay. And then, the other part we needed to fill in was the description of what the candidates' requirements or what we're looking for. So right now it says candidates must reside in Northfield, own, operate a business in Northfield, or represent fill in the blank.
This is candidates for the citizen committee that's going to review the town manager candidates,
Correct, the final
the
candidates.
final candidates. Thank you.
So do we want to add in anything like, or represents Norwich University or the school or some other entity within the community? Or do we just want it to say they just need to
You
reside in Northfield or own a business here?
Reside in Northfield, I like. The businesses covers everything. The school is, would you consider the school a business? Probably not.
Institution.
Institution is a better word than business. Institutions in the town.
Own, well, it could say, reside in Northfield, own, operate a business in Northfield, or represents an institution
Yeah.
in Northfield.
Yeah.
And just leave it
Northfield
broad
is an
as
amazingly
institution.
diverse place.
Okay, well, that's simple.
Represent an institution home-based in Northfield. A Northfield institution, there you go.
Representing Northfield institution, okay. Everybody will know what places we mean by that. Okay, and then the last, written expressions of interest should be sent to fill in the blank. Ken McCann, town manager, select board.
Ken, do you want this?
It'll be going to me in the mail, but it probably should be directed to the town manager.
Okay, should be sent to the town manager at the manager address.
Yes, which is the town office address.
Okay, and we're asking that these be sent by March 6th, and the select board will be choosing committee members on March 10th at our regular meeting. Okay, I think we got through it.
It's March 6th, Friday.
Probably. Is there a problem with that day?
Well, there should be a deadline because if something shows up at 4:30.
Yeah, March 6th is the Friday.
Yeah,
We should say Thursday, because we say that for a lot of
Say for
things.
March 5th, we were trying to have it be the same date as the deadline for the applications for town manager, but I think that's like not important.
those letters have to be,
Reviewed and looked at and.
they have to be put in the
So
package.
it's gonna be put in the packet.
So March 5th. Okay, do you want me to send Bill Fraser our fill in the blanks?
Do you have to say,
Do we need,
COB, close of business on March 5th or anything like
it
that?
says by March 5th. I mean, I really hope we don't have to get. I know some people have already been sending letters of interest, so.
Have they?
Well, you guys said that people had reached out to you,
Well, they
Oh,
were,
they say things, yeah.
and I think we did receive one.
there's one that I know
Yeah, I think we did see something crossed our desk.
Okay, are we set?
Yeah.
Do we need to vote to finalize it?
of. It's operational, I don't think so.
That's right.
There was a motion, I think.
Was there a motion?
I think so.
All in favor of, the draft advertisement as amended, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? None passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Now.
Very collaborative way of doing it, and we all agreed, oh, that's great.
I'll try to make this brief, but I just continue to settle in and feeling my efficiency is improving as I learn the network organization in the town office. Get used to the outlet format that's on the manager's computer, which is a little bit different than what I'm used to. Some of the notable things that's happened in the last 2 weeks, we worked with the finance director and the select board obviously to set the budget. That's a big deal. We actually started the ambulance negotiations and we've had 2 days of, they were mostly dedicated to negotiations, and that's aside from the team meetings and the Lydia and Mary are the select board representatives to the negotiating team. We have Mitch Lane, who's the town attorney, and myself. We're working with Northfield Fire Chief, Police Chief Eric Robinson to prepare an intermunicipal MOU for recruiting outside police detail for community coverage beyond the police chief. And I think we'll have that squared away hopefully in a couple of weeks. Continue to address personnel and staffing vacancy issues. We've conducted 3 interviews for the finance director and moving ahead with that. Continue with the group department head meetings, which seem to be pretty productive both ways. And I am making headway on the individual department head meetings, but it's challenging with 4 hours in the office every day. It gets consumed pretty quickly with a lot of meetings, so I'm trying to strike the balance, but so far so good. And in the meantime, continue to respond to resident requests for assistance, feedback, or whatever. And my goal has been to, I try to, if people don't get through when they call, return the calls within the same day or within 24 hours. And most of the requests that they put in place actions that follow up on the request. So I hope residents are feeling the responsive customer service. I would note that we will all speak to it, interim police chief's report. Chief Bolden is doing just remarkable things in the police department. Make a lot of headway there. Things I see happening next week will continue with the ambulance negotiations. Although the next, because we're dealing with a national union team that has, I think, 6 or 7 members, and their members are scattered from California to the East Coast. It turned out, because of the snowstorm, we canceled the in-person meetings and actually did it virtually, which I thought was going to be somewhat problematic, but actually I thought it worked pretty good. And we may just continue the rest of it that way. Continue to work on filling personnel vacancies. I will be on with Carl Bailey. He's struggling with an undersized salt storage shed, which compromises his ability to have enough salt on hand during the winter. I'm going to down there and meet with him this week, and we'll come back with a recommendation on how to proceed there. There's a meet and greet function this week, well, actually tomorrow, for the interim police chief and myself at O'Malley's from 4 to 6, and we're looking forward to reaching out and meeting people and introducing ourselves. Just keep working on grant administration, making progress on individual department head meetings, and just there's a lot of open issues, but just chipping away at it. I think things that's in every police chief's report is upgraded the whole swipe card access system, which was, like, from what I understand, was problematic. I mean, the security of the building has now been attended to. It was probably less than secure before. Video surveillance system, interior to fire police department. was, for all intents and purposes, non-functional. A new system is going to be in place. The key system has been replaced. One of the things that I understand was on the municipal staff's sort of request is for quite some time has been to have a panic alarm system installed in the municipal building for front office, what I call the front office staff. We've addressed that and the system has been ordered and that will be installed. I think that will be a relief to staff in the front of the building. Kevin has reduced the backlog of outstanding cases from 273 down to 56. I'm sorry, down to 2. And there are 56 cases apparently in the queue. He addressed a stolen vehicle investigation on January 21st and on March 5th. An individual is going to be arraigned in that. So I think that's just a lot of good stuff that Brian's doing.
Sue, do you have any questions? John? To the manager? Okay. Mary?
One of the other things that Kevin mentioned is that he's working with the leadership team at the public school.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I just wanted to say that, this computer is one of 10 that I obtained from this public school. This is the first generation of Chromebooks that the kids had, and now they're in the second generation, so I got these. So I got some leftover ones, but anyway, I have them available for people to use. And I want to just say that one of the things that we talked about since I got on this board was improving our relationships with the school. And I see this happening now. Yeah, that's happening.
Okay. Salt shed ideas, I noticed that the state had restricted their delivery of salt, so
Yes.
the town could do that. Would it make sense to have each district be the provider of salt to the towns? So instead of having this supply chain issue, the state's not gonna run out of salt apparently. They've got it dialed in, so they've got it, but it's.
Well, my impression is that the state has the supplier gives the state priority on deliveries. Because as I was driving back to the Barry every day, I saw salt trucks by the whatever going into the district garage up here, but they weren't coming down. They weren't coming down there. Carol said they were dedicating all the deliveries to the state. So I'm not sure that trying to organize it through the district would help. I think it's in part the suppliers were having a hard time. I'm not so sure it was that they couldn't get the salt, they just couldn't get it fast enough.
And there's my point. So if you've got District 6, and that takes care of Washington County but I don't know all that it takes care of. So you've got this salt shed, and it's full of salt, and it's right off the interstate. It's convenient to get to. Trucks are used to going there. They use a lot more salt than Northfield does. Find out if there's an agreement is my approach. I would call Agency of Transportation and say, you've got all these districts. That's a central place that salt is making it to because of the convenience and accessibility. Then Northfield could send a truck up and they could load the truck. They've got to load their own trucks, right? So if you need salt, if you need 5 trucks of salt, you just go up there, pick it up, and there's a bill. And then the state bill, it's gonna be the same price, maybe a little cheaper. But what we're encountering is either we have to expand our salt shed or put salt like in a greater barn, which puts equipment out in the weather, which I don't approve of. Or you come up with an alternative supply or research, and if the state is not running out of salt, come up with a plan that when we are not able to keep up with it, we can go up there and get a load of salt rather than saying, okay, the state's gonna discontinue their salt deliveries so everybody else can have them.
I could look into that.
It's a process.
Yeah, but the other thing I understand is the salt shed they have is not the size that was originally planned to be there.
Oh,
Small.
Steve, get used to it. We undersize everything to save dollars. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's part of the issue too, that this there is.
Right.
Carl's unable to stockpile the inventory that he needs, to get him through some of these, really severe storms.
well, it seems to me that one truck coming to Northfield is a lot more difficult than 20 trucks going to District 6.
Yeah.
If that's where the salt is, come up with a plan and we can pick it up, we'll pay for it.
Yeah.
We don't want it for free, but they know what it is to take 4 buckets to load a truck. And then we can come down and then they can, that's where the efficiency is that is a salt shed. So anyway, just a thought. Is there board members' concerns, thoughts? Questions?
Yeah, Donnie Smith. I'm in New Brook.
That is a work in process. And I guess that's the way that it's always, there's no easy answer. It's going to be a long process. It's probably a legal process, either. I think part of it is generating a new town ordinance addressing parking. So I know that Kevin said he'd gone up here and had a conversation. I don't know if he came with it, but it's a work in progress.
Okay. So John, I have reached out to McLetty with some language to address that. Haven't heard back yet. My last meeting, I came up with some language to address property owners it's gonna be a broad brush. It's not gonna, I do not see it happening before town meeting day. And we've got a complaint today. Was Donnie out there on Union Brooklyn when you came down?
As we speak, when I was coming down here, the roads are all snowy and he's parked right in the middle of
Right.
tonight.
So we're getting the middle finger of fate salute from this property owner, and sadly, when you have to respond to that, you have to do a blanket town-wide ordinance, and it's going to affect everybody because of one hard hit. Okay.
But he does have a sign up in his yard that says, no parking in the traveled path of the street, and it's a regular sign that he got somewhere, and I just find that to pay me off.
Right, now, this is, this is his form of entertainment, but, we will create, something that will, it won't, I dare say, we're gonna end the snow year, without a remedy. I would say that we're going to end this winter without a remedy because we have not been aggressive on it. One of the reasons we haven't been aggressive on it is because we didn't have law enforcement in town. It would have gone much better if we could have started much earlier. I have no authority. This board has no authority. The manager has no authority to tow that equipment out there. And apparently, the laws as they're written are related to the travel portion of the lane, not the right of way. So and we'll get to it all. It's all gonna be addressed. But when I had logs delivered, I made damn sure that the logs were way the hell out of the way for the town crew so they could travel snow, right?
Right.
That's what's supposed to happen.
He's not in the right of way though, he's in the traveled lane.
Get it? And he's across the road, he's blocked that.
Yeah,
He's in the right of
snow pile is pushing out away from the rigs that he's got
And he's
over there.
probably on there laughing right now as he watches us online, but that's just what we have to deal with. We're on it, and we're not gonna stop. But it is slower than death to come up with a resolution. I want to go emergency.
I just can't believe that somebody can't do something to get the vehicles out of the road. I mean.
We can, but then you're gonna be faced with a lawsuit.
Yeah, okay, Charlie, if I parked out here in the middle of the road, what are you gonna do? Let me keep it there?
Oh, you're blocking traffic? Cars can get by. They're just reduced to one, I'm not arguing. this
Yeah,
with you.
I get it
support
too.
you. I go by there with Meals on Wheels every Friday at about 11:30 and I see the mess.
Yeah,
I get it. But, and if there was a way that I could, that I have not found that hanger, that hook, that I can bring to the board and say, this is what we're gonna do. Legal, our town council's on it. Steve has been working with the chief on it. If there,
The real reality is if there were a simple solution, it would have been done right now.
I don't understand what the complexity of it is. I mean,
You
it's
gotta
a
have-
town road and he's parked in it, which hinders me, you, Charlie, whatever, from using that lane. As taxpayers, I would imagine I have the right to use that road.
Absolutely.
So
I
what
guess I have
gives
to
him the
go-
right?
and
I've only
state,
been by there once, so.
state law says you have, that you can park, in the road up until, we designated 10 o'clock by ordinance. So you can be there till 10 o'clock. Well, we don't have a cop on it 10:05, so we don't know if he's out there. We could tell him if he's there at 10 o'clock and we had a law enforcement officer that go out there and initiate a ticket and then tow him. We don't have that yet. We'll rebuild the police department to get that, but that's what law says. And we have a no parking zone on town highways, ordinance that says after 10 o'clock.
And what about snow? Is there a winter van parking or no parking or?
As Steve said, if there was something, yes, there is a snowman. It starts at 10 o'clock in the evening.
It starts at midnight, Chairman.
Starts at midnight, I'm sorry. So we have to amend those. But if we're gonna amend it, do we want to amend it for the whole town or we want to just amend it for the back roads? You don't see any other back roads, out in the Puck Brush where I live that has this problem.
Right, because we're law-abiding citizens.
Right, and we're also good neighbors.
But it would behoove the town to tow that at 12:01 when he comes out to go to work in the morning and there's no rig there.
Right.
You know,
Get your tow truck license and we'll give you a call. And tell us what you're gonna charge.
okay,
We're working on it, man.
I know you are, but I
We
just,
get, and we get emails 2 or 3 times a week, I think, probably twice a week, about that same thing.
I'm just trying to
And
keep it alive.
every meeting, we have had the same discussion.
I was surprised when that gentleman right there, John, said, and what about Donnie Smith? I almost fell out of my chair.
Yeah, it's
So,
on-
no, that's
it's
the
on
only
our
reason
mind.
I'm here, is just to keep it going, to find out, you know, why is this happening and cannot just be moved?
Cause I don't wanna get sued for taking the forks on my tractor and picking it up and throw it over the bank.
I'll help you, I got tractors and forks too.
Oh, Mary, you're gonna offer your tractor too?
No, I'm just, is there a public safety angle that you can
Yeah,
get?
I got hit.
We haven't been able to find it yet. Vermont leaves the cities and towns stated chapter and verse. The statute, I think it ends in 001. I forget what it was, that's chapter and verse, it says maintenance, it says safety, it says all of that, but when you,
Like, can you get a fire truck by it?
yeah,
Won't be able to,
But
a couple more snowstorms.
it's gonna be the only person that gets through there, it's not gonna be, a car's not coming the other direction. He was slowing down for oncoming traffic and the person behind him kissed him in the rear end. Because of that bottleneck that is being created by an individual that's just doesn't get what it needs, what it means to be neighborly. And I am going to open my mouth and insert my foot. So I think I'll
Probably not.
cease
And the discussion
further
there, yeah.
discussion.
Okay, I'll see you next month.
Sometimes the only time I open my mouth is to change feet, but anyway. Is there any discussion from the public? Are we done with, public participation? Let me guess what you're here for.
No, it's been
Right.
resolved, as right now, anyway.
Mary, have you got anything for, comments or concerns?
No, there's a raised hand.
Raised hand.
Yes, it is. Dan Anderson wants to.
Oh, there's Dan. Hey, Dan.
Hi, folks. So I'm wearing a couple hats tonight. First, from the Accessibility, Walkability, and Pedestrian Safety Task Force. Just want to say I'm really proud of the work that was done by the folks that collaborated with those other groups and seeing how far that conversation went in just a few short months makes me really proud of the town and grateful to the select board for encouraging that work. So thank you for that. And then the other hat that I have to put on is for the parent, teacher, and neighbor organization for the Northfield Elementary School. We are putting together a raffle, and I was asked by the group to come here and ask you all if we can include a season pass for the pool in that raffle.
Manager?
I think I did that. And I'm sorry, I don't assimilate all the names, but I received an email from a lady. Is this the same thing that has been done on previous years?
Yes, yeah, and so I literally just came from a meeting before I hopped over here, and Amanda mentioned that she hadn't heard back about that, and we're trying to finalize our lists. So they asked me to stick around for public comment and put your feet to the fire and see if
We can clear this up, but the name Amanda sort of rings a bell. And she wrote a fairly compelling email and said, we've done this in the past and this is a history and so on and so forth. It's always been granted. And I responded promptly within 24 hours. And then she wrote back and said, thank you very much. And thank you for the prompt response.
well, okay, then I think there was a miscommunication on our end, but it sounds like that's a.
Let me just say, if it's a different request, just check on your end. If
Will
I'm
do.
mistaken, call me up. But I know I've approved the pool pass.
Very good. Thank you for your help. I appreciate that.
Just email, if there's a confusion, just email me.
Will do. All right. Thanks, everybody.
You waited all night for that?
He was at
There,
another meeting.
is there anybody else online that wants to have anything? Because we are going to go on to the cone of silence in a bit, but it's not gonna be worded that way. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have anything out here? All right, so I need a motion to, that the select board finds based on evidence of counsel or premature general public knowledge of confidential attorney-client communications received from Northfield's counsel concerning an pending EEOC claim and union grievance involving an employee and made for the purpose of providing professional legal services to the town of Northfield would be place the select board in Northfield and Northfield is substantial disadvantage. Do I have a motion? Second. Thank you. All in favor of approving that motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Second motion, do I have a motion to move that the select board go into executive session pursuant to 1 VSA subchapter 313, parries A, 1, E, and F to receive and consider professional legal advice from in the form of confidential attorney client communication provided by the counsel for the Northfield concerning a pending employee EEOC claim and a union grievance with the interim town manager invited to end. Also, a personnel action to invite the zoning, or personnel to invite the zoning administrator.
Yes, I so moved.
All right, thank you. Second. Second. All right, any objections? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We will be in executive session after a short 10-minute break.
Ooh. This would be the time we would be eating all those cookies if we had.
Oh, boy, is that you? All right. That is, Mary, what's your last name?
Yes,
It is Mary Trent.
it's my real name, I promise.
She got married.
Well, she's not